Hey everyone, welcome back to an exciting session recap. This session I did a couple days ago, and it happened right after I finished 4 hours outside in the snow on strike with my teachers union. But we won't get into that. This session was 5 by 750 meters on 3 minutes rest. It is a tough session on a good day, and probably not the best choice after such a long morning. I was well caffeinated though, so I assumed things might be good going into it. It's a tough pace. The prescription was 2K PB pace plus 2 to 3 seconds. I thought it would be smart to go out right at 2K pace instead. At this point, I'm pulling 129s pretty consistently, and like any training session, you tend to always feel good early on. I did. I kind of told myself I could, easily just back off to 132, even 133. But I hung on. I held 129. And I'll try and finish on pace. Try and finish on PB split, and we'll see how we feel later on. I really need to set up erg data in these videos. I just realized that it would be nice to see real-time splits during these sessions, I think. Let me know if you agree. As this first rep got close to the end, it became very obvious that today would be a struggle to hold what I was hoping to hold. In hindsight, going out a little slower, maybe starting a little slower might have been a little bit more comfortable. But I mean, the challenge with this one for me today on this session was to just see if I could hang on around 2K PB pace throughout. My ultimate goal in this session is to maybe someday pull all 5 sub 130 pace. But that day did not occur, unfortunately. Although a good start on the first one, I already felt pretty tired going into the second. So this was very much a battle from the first pull on this second rep. I ended up in the 130s, and mentally holding 130 on this one, considering how I was feeling, wasn't too bad. If I only had 3 reps, I think this would have been much more pleasant mentally. When you feel tired on rep 2, and you still have that one and then 3 more remaining, it's a tough thing for your confidence, and especially as this one ended, I already feared the third starting. I could see my splits starting to get away from me a little bit. I just didn't have the power early on that I would want. I even felt like my technique was kind of getting away from me early, which is not something you want at this point in a training session. But there was enough of a mental fight to at least keep it close, and I think ended this one in the low 130s. Now, whether I could hold those for the next 3 remained to be seen. I know in my mind at this point, if I could keep them all in the 130s, I'd probably be very, very happy. As we'll find out later, that also was not the case. Even resting was starting to get tiring, if that makes sense. Like just getting to the chair. I put it too far away. I didn't like having to walk that far, and I didn't change it. I left it there, which doesn't make a lot of sense looking back. Anyways, this third rep is when I felt like the wheels are really starting to fall off. 129s were not going to happen. 130s probably weren't going to happen. This third one was all about just holding 131s. I will say this. One thing I was really happy about in this session was my stroke rate. I held 32 consistently. I snuck a little more than that later on. You'll see in the finish of rep 5. But holding a consistent rate around 32 for me personally is a win on sessions like these. I think high rate practice is really important, and if you don't practice rating in the low even to mid 30s in preparation for something like a 2K, I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table. I've started incorporating a lot of mid to high rate distance pieces, very light pressure. Something like 10 to 12K, trying to rate around 26 to 28 consistently, just letting the rate do the work for me. I'm not really worried too much about splits, really just focusing on a consistent heart rate in the 70 to 80% range. But that rate practice, that higher rate practice, I think has helped immensely in my confidence holding higher rates during even interval sprint sessions like this one. Over halfway now, finished on 131s, so not terrible. Definitely feel like quitting at this point. Really, really struggling to get air. I found it was hard to breathe in the garage that day. I don't know what it was, because it was warm in there. The heat had been on earlier, so now we're just the back two. Getting through the fourth is always hard with a set of 5. Just getting through it, just get past it. You can always really empty the tank on the 5th when you're all done. But this fourth one was really the worst of the 5 for sure. You can't really tell, but I'm pretty sure my eyes were closed for most of this rep. My legs didn't hurt so much, which I was really happy about. They were tired. They didn't have that I need to stop, the burning is too much pain, which can happen on these. I don't know why I find it worse on 500s. But I was really having trouble breathing, and that may have had a bigger impact on my session than maybe I thought. I was really struggling to take deep breaths. You can see it there. I'm really just trying to get a big breath in as much as I can. This one sucked. I saw 132 to 133 and some 134s. Early on through most of it, and I honestly considered just kind of riding it out and sitting out the 5th or riding this one out at a low split and then finishing hard. I was able to hang on to some 132s late and bring the average down to what I consider to be a little bit more respectable for this session. And promise myself on the 5th it would not be slower than this one. This one was a grind from the start. I was just counting strokes in chunks of 10. I was finishing each rep before this around 72-ish strokes in total. So after the first 2, I just started counting in chunks of 10. Just get to 10. Just get to 10. And then right around a minute down, I'm a little under halfway. It's really just sort of, do what it takes to keep the split slow. I wanted to finish as close to 130 as possible. I wasn't sure if that was gonna happen, because really after a minute, it's kind of the make or break point in that rep. I'm very much exhausted. My heart rate's, well into the red at this point. You're only 30 strokes away, 35 strokes away. It's not that much. But everything hurts, and it's a struggle to will yourself forward. And you don't know if you're going to be able to hold that or not. I worried that coming out with 130 as a target, considering the 2 reps previous, I would die. It would just be a slow, painful crawl to the finish line and probably end on a bad split. But inside a minute left, and I was hurting, but very much still in the fight. I had enough drive inside to keep the splits low. Miraculously, 150 meters, I'm pulling, shortening up, pulling high 120s, bringing the average down on each stroke, and thankfully finished on a strong note. Didn't throw up, although there were times where I thought that might happen. But all things considered, quite pleased with this, and faster than last year.